Hello everybody, this is Jessica from Pug Stitches Knits. I'm here today to show you how to do a provisional cast on using a stitch holder cord. This is a stitch holder cord and you can get them lots of places. I'll put some links in the comments for you and where to get these or other cute little accessories. So the first thing we're going to do for this cast on is we're going to just get our cord on the needle nice and snug. Okay, we're going to sort of fold it. Just put it aside temporarily while we get our yarn ready. So now we're going to just do our slip knot like we normally do. Just slip it right on there. Snug it up. We're going to take our yarn and just do a simple looped cast on. So when I do that, all I'm doing is I'm taking my working yarn and make sure it's getting caught between my last stitch and the end of the needle. So like, see how it's getting caught right in there? If it's on the other side, it'll just fall off and then you just repeat, not a big deal. But you want to make sure when you twist it that the working yarn's on the inside. Just a simple twist. Put on as many as we need. So then when I'm done putting on however many my pattern calls for, I'm just gonna flick that off, slide it down. And you don't need a cord quite as long as I use, but it doesn't hurt. You can always just tie it up later as it's sitting there. And then I'm just going to follow my pattern. I'm assuming it's just a simple knit stitch next. But whatever my pattern calls for, I'm just gonna work my pattern. Ignoring that cord, and don't get the cord caught. Like, I don't want to hook the cord while I'm doing it. I want to make sure I just ignore the cord and leave it hanging below. So I'm doing this flat, but you could just do it in the round like you normally would. You'd cast on enough that you can knit in the round and starting around like you normally would, just ignoring that cord, letting it hang below. And just keep following my pattern, ignoring the cord. And at some point, my pattern's going to tell me to take the provisional stitches off the holder and work them. So that's what we're going to do now. So I'm going to show you guys how to do that on a different sample I already have here. All right. So here's my cord. Here I'm making a little picot edge. So my pattern says pick up your provisional stitches. So I'm just going to take my needle, and the smaller needle's easier sometimes. So even if you calls for a bigger needle, you can just always use a smaller one and either slip it onto the bigger needle or just knit onto the bigger needle, because the held stitches, it doesn't really matter what size needle they're on. Whatever works for you. You just slide them on. So I get them all on my needle, and then again I'm just gonna pop that. Oh, I got that one on there. Pop it off. I'm using my fingernail to help me get it off. And so one thing I want you to notice with these, see how they're kind of twisted? Because when you open up the stitch, we normally want this right leg to be on the front, and we have the left leg on the front. So you have two options. If you were worried about remembering that, you could just slide them onto another needle or this needle around if it was long enough and just correct that. The other option is just to knit into the back of them. So that's what I'm going to do. And actually, for what we're doing right now, it honestly doesn't even matter if they were twisted, because they're just getting hidden in the back here, because we're folding it in half like that to make a little picot edging. That's going to be the back. That's going to be the front. So for my picot edging, now I'm just ready to go. So if it told me to like do a rib, I would just knit the rib as it tells me to, but you're going to knit into the back of the stitches, or switch their orientation onto the needle and then knit it. For this picot, I'm going to slide them both up onto 2 needles, and then I'm just basically going to bind off these back ones as I continue to knit, and I'm going to do that by knitting these together. So I'm going to slide in the front of that one, in the back of this one, and knit, and slide them off each needle. Front of this one, back of that one, knit, slide it off the needle, and I'm just going to go across. Now, because this was flat, our stitches were automatically lined up. Oops. That happened. Just go through again. And same thing, if we were knitting in a circle, they should be already lined up. So your first stitch should be the right one, but you want to just make sure in the circle that they are, so you don't have, like, say, you're knitting this one into one down here. You want to make sure they're folded evenly. Oops, I'm just losing my dexterity here. And I just keep going. Oops, if I could. And as you can see, as I do this, I'm going to stop so as not to bore you guys to death. But as you can see, those stitches have come off, and that's the back. And this working part will be the front of my sock or whatever I'm making. And it just creates this nice picot edge. These back guys are like knit in there, locked in. And you're good to go. Thanks a lot, guys. Hope you enjoyed that video. Jessica, Pug Stitches Knits. Take care. Bye-bye.